Guys, this weekend at UFC 291, a new BMF will be crowned, and my partners at DraftKings are offering an incredible deal for all new customers who sign up using the promo code SONNEN. New customers, bet just $5 on any of this weekend's fights and receive $150 in bonus bets instantly. You can even use your bonus bets on DraftKings same fight parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same fight, including number of rounds and method of victory. Remember, DraftKings is the only place where you can bet same fight parlays. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. So click on the link below and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Remember, new customers, use the code SONNEN and bet just $5 on any wager to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code SONNEN only at DraftKings. Brendan Schaub gave a breakdown of Dustin versus Justin, and I'm telling you what Brendan said because I'm stealing it. That's not what I'm going to say. I loved what he said, and it was real simple. He talked about essentially, and I'm going to change his words here, but what Brendan was talking about is that Poirier is very technical, and Gaethje is a brawler. These weren't Brendan's words, by the way, but this is what he was talking about. And Brendan went further. Now, these are his words. He went further to say that he suspects there's going to be more grappling in this than you suspect, more grappling than we saw in the first match, and that it's going to be initiated, that's a quote from Brendan, by Poirier. He went on to talk about guys that Poirier has taken down. Whether the guys got up or not, he still did it. He went on to talk about how good Poirier is on the ground. And don't forget Poirier, who's done so much with his left and right hand. I mean, so much with his Western boxing, slipped some kicks in. His home is a jiu-jitsu gym. So I really love Brendan's point. And by the way, Gaethje has been so effective at defensive wrestling. As an All-American in wrestling, Division I, 5th in the country, he has the offense. He doesn't use the offense. He uses his wrestling defensively because he likes to stand up. He loves those kicks, particularly the calf kicks. He loves to box. After Brendan made this point, though, it just went through my mind very fast. And I've been with Gaethje from the beginning, by the way. When he was with World Series of Fighting, which is now known as the Professional Fight League, I was the commentator. I watched this killer standing here. This is before he comes over to the UFC, has the debut of a lifetime with Michael Johnson, goes on to the Ultimate Fighter. It was interesting when Brendan brought that up, because what I do have to now realize why I talk about the defensive wrestling of Justin Gaethje. And the reason I say he uses his wrestling defensively is because he doesn't ever get taken down. Aside from the Khabib fight, tell me a time you've seen him taken down. And he had some massive scrambles in the Chandler contest. Okay, but those have influenced me. Now that I hear what Brendan said and I look back at Gaethje's body of work as a whole, guys don't try to take him down. It's not a matter that he's using wrestling defensively. Guys read the resume, they have a respect for him, and then they don't try to take him down. If Dustin Poirier tries to take him down, that will be one of the first times we see Gaethje's defense. I'm removing the Chandler fight. And that's an interesting concept. That's a very, very interesting concept. Not to mention, when you've got the guy in the middle of a firefight, there is no better time to take him down. When I competed with Anderson Silva, I was able to get him down and other guys weren't. I didn't have the superior wrestling or superior takedown. I got credit for that. That's how people told the story. That's not what it was. I was the only guy that fought him that was within range. The other guys that tried to take him down were so scared of the knockout, they stayed about this far out of range, just so Anderson couldn't touch him. And you can't take a guy down from here. There's a rule in wrestling. My son has had his 7th wrestling workout 2 nights ago. And I bring that to you because it's a lesson I'm teaching him as a brand new guy. I teach all wrestlers this. If you put your hand out And when you put that hand out, if you can't touch the guy, he's too far away to shoot. And I don't care if you're missing by this much. He must be within an arm's reach. He must. Which is why it's so important. That's why I'm talking about when you're in a firefight, you guys are exchanging, you change elevation and you attack. It is the absolute best time. Now, you got to go into the firefight. You got to step into range, push a lot of guys out, make them not want to do it. I like Brendan's analysis, and that is very much a tool that Poirier has. And this is such a classic match, guys. This is such a classic match of technician versus brawler. Dustin Poirier is extreme. I mean, it's a thing of beauty to watch him fight. And how many people can you say that about? I mean, how many times can you ever say that in combat, that somebody has a beautiful style? It's a very bizarre word. But that's how much of a technician he is. Conor McGregor would fall into that same category. It's a thing of beauty, the way he can set people up, the timing, the reach, the power. He's not just throwing things. Like, Conor's knocked a lot of people out, and you want to know one thing you've never heard about Conor McGregor? Well, he caught him. He got lucky, he caught him. You've never heard that, because he never has. Conor has never been out there just throwing wildly and catches somebody, but neither does Poirier. It is by the numbers. And the textbook says the technician beats the brawler. We see that not be true all of the time. But the textbook still says it and still maintains it. And every coach you meet, you will never walk into a practice room and a coach says, all right, here's what we're going to do with you, son. We're going to make you a brawler. Never. Even if you are a brawler, he'll try to get you out of it. He'll teach you the technique. He'll teach you specifically which way to go, how to turn your hand over, where your head moves, where you dip, where you step, when you go with your right leg, when you go with your left leg. Technique beats brawling, according to the textbook. We see this not be true all the time, but I'm just bringing it to you because it's a classic match, man. I went back and looked at these guys' records. I followed their careers. I watched everything Dustin has done. I watched him from this shy little boy from Louisiana that didn't feel he belonged. When you watch Dustin lose to Conor McGregor the first time and you wonder what's different in part 2 and part 3, he didn't get a whole lot better. He really didn't. Dustin didn't feel he belonged. From a small town, all of a sudden he's in front of lights. People are coming up to him asking for pictures. They're wanting autographs, right? He's got the same girlfriend. He's got the same family. I mean, he's just a good dude. Which doesn't, it's one of these things. Once he realized, hey, I can do this. I do belong. I am one of them. He became the champion of the world. He didn't get new coaches, new training partners, new philosophies, new gym, new ideas. He didn't do anything different, right? If you want to get something different, you got to do something different. Well, not always. Sometimes you got to do the same thing. You just got to do more of it. Oh, and by the way, then you've got to believe in it. That is the story of Poirier's career. Right there. What I just said, that is the story of Dustin Poirier. From a 24-year-old to what he is now. From a 24-year-old that's fallen down and was chosen to fight Conor McGregor so he would fall down, to the potential BMF of the UFC. What? What? Is there a bigger compliment that you could give a cage fighter? Knowing what their egos are, knowing why they got into this in the first place, is there a bigger compliment than to find one guy and say, you are, of all these guys, you're the baddest of all of them? He is one win away. That little shy boy from Louisiana that didn't think he belonged is one win away from the biggest compliment that a fighter would like to receive. And maybe not from you, maybe not from the public. I'm telling you, amongst the locker room, amongst his direct peers, that is a shocking turn of events that I really don't want you to miss. And if you go back and you look at that first fight between Poirier and Gaethje, and I'm trying to explain to you that I've been there, I've seen it all, but it was slow steps, it was slow progressions, right? There's a decade in here that we're discussing. Sometimes you forget things. You go back, go to SureDog.com, just bring up their record, right? Do this over at MMAfighting.tv, right? They'll have records and you can just follow it. These two found each other. They put a bludgeoning together. They then went separate paths. They got away from each other. They went separate paths that led them both, not just one of them, both to world championships. Between the two of them, they probably fought for six belts. Probably between the two of them, they probably had 6 world title fights. That's a guess, but I'm real sure I'm within one and maybe even spot on. That's a lot. That's a lot of world title fights. The only thing they had to do is get the hell away from each other. You get out of my way, I'll get out of yours. Let's see what you can do, let's see what I can do. Well, they both did it, and they both became world champion. I mean, it's a really interesting concept. And what a change. You know, anytime there's a rematch, you're going to be asked the same question, and you must have an answer for it. What's going to be different this time? Well, I'm not sure anything needs to be different. It could be the exact same, and you could get a different result. I mean, the game that they chose to play, and the shots and the damage and the courage and put your toe on the line that they both, unwritten agreement, agreed to play, it's a unique situation. I don't need to look at the last 5 years and then tell you what Poirier does better. I don't need to look at the last 5 years and then tell you what Gaethje does better. I really don't. They're very largely the same guy. In fact, there's not one specific skill that I could point to. I could identify some of the new training partners, Kamaru Usman specifically, that Justin Gaethje has found. But for Justin to win this fight, he doesn't have to do anything different than he did in the first one. He could just go duplicate that night. He really could. That could have gone to either guy. That was a bludgeoning of a lifetime. And one of these guys is one win away from being crowned. It'll make the first ever that a guy had a world championship and a BMF championship. It is a history-setting night for one of them. It's an incredible situation. You go up and down the roster, but you'd have a very hard time telling me that they didn't find the right 2 guys.